Welcome back to Partners Dog School, one of the highest rated dog training facilities in the Southwest. Here at our facilities, we've truly seen it all, having worked with over 55,000 dogs and setting them up for a happier lifelong relationship with their pet parents. Over the last couple of weeks, our staff has been training with Boone and Cooper to finish up their journey and eventually have them go back home to their parents, Chris and Shaina. Let's see how our senior trainer Chase is doing here in week 3.
What's up, dude? So right now, just doing a simple training session with them, but again, my focus on is having them understand controlling their energy when they're working together. Boone more so than Cooper, but Cooper, as you can see, is a very big distraction for Boone. Boone gets very, very excited working around his brothers. So again, that could be a big issue for us, and something that I kind of noticed with my first working demo with their owners was, Boone just being so overly excited, kind of out of control, a lot of energy, a lot of craziness going on. So just having them understand energy management when they're working together and not feeding into each other's kind of anxiety and demeanor. Now, I'm gonna put Boone on place as I work Cooper individually for a little bit. Place duration is going to be one big factor to keeping these dogs successful at home. When it's pretty quiet and chill, they definitely did a good job on place at home. But I know, when people are coming inside, somebody's coming to the door, energy's coming into the house, it's very difficult for the owners keeping these large 3 Great Danes on place. And like I was saying, Cooper is one of the biggest distractions for Boone when I'm working them together. So again, having him understand managing his energy and containing himself when I'm working with him individually, not feeding into a lot of his separation anxiety, that littermate syndrome that he has towards Cooper, will hopefully help transfer and teach him when he's kind of in that mindset, don't feed into it and rushing off of place, rather just self-soothing himself and understand to stay nice and calm and relaxed. Cooper, heel. Yes, Cooper, sit. Good. Cooper, down. Good boy. Yes. But Boone's doing a very good job right here. But again, first week or so, something this simple with keeping Boone on place and having his brother directly in front of him, all Boone wanted to do was rush off and start playing with his brother. So this is a big improvement for us right here. Cooper especially too, he was the one that struggled a lot with his engagement, wasn't offering me much affection. So it's this look from him right here, leaning into me, very, very gentle, kind of looking me up in the eyes, offering me that engagement. This is a huge improvement for us right here. I like right here too, with them just being so close to each other. Again, you can see that their personality is very, very neutral. They're not offering each other their engagement, feeding into each other's, demeanor, everything like that. They're very, very calm, being appropriate and everything like that. Boone's not trying to rush over to Cooper, attack him, play with him. Cooper is, again, usually the very, very calm dog, but again, as you can see, very, very polite, staying on place, good demeanor, body language, everything like that. I like right here, Boone just put his head down, so very, very submissive position for us right here. Again, that's him showing us he's understanding, again, just, around his sibling, containing a lot of his energy and not feeding into a lot of it, and having them cause those problems. Good boy. Good boys. Good boys. Heel. So right now I have Cooper and Boone just doing a little play session with their sibling Bojangles. This is the second time we've had the privilege of working with Bojangles as the owners are going on a couple of vacations. They're choosing to keep Bojangles here with us for boarding over the weekend. But I'm really glad that they're doing that because again, that's going to give me the opportunity to work, with their third sibling at home. And as you can see right now, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of rough playing, just total freedom, kind of chaos right now. And I can only imagine this is how a day by day in their house looks. Just, these big 140, 150, 160 plus pound dogs just running around causing this total chaos, just no again, protocols, necessarily any of that management, no boundaries or anything like that. It's just these three big beasts of dogs just running around, always doing exactly what it is at whatever they want to do. So again, what I want to focus right now, especially between Cooper and Boone with Bojangles, Bojangles being a senior Great Dane, he's 8 years old, that's pretty old for a Great Dane. So again, a lot of this rough playing, rough housing, just craziness, chaos and everything like that. One of these dogs could get hurt, having those weaker joints, the bigger body, everything like that, especially with Bojangles. So, I want them understanding, even though he is the same size of them, they can definitely, hurt them when they're being overly playful, too pushy, jumping all over each other. And as you can see, Bojangles will do it a little bit too. But again, just having them understand, the control aspects, don't always feed into each other. They need to learn to kind of just settle down and just be appropriate dogs, not necessarily 100% of the time, but being able to kind of take them when they're in this mindset and it's just all chaos and all they're focused on is just running around, playing, roughhousing, and that's kind of the drive and the mindset that they're in. That's when they're going to blow off the owners and they're not going to kind of pay attention. So again, right now I have Cooper and Boone on an e-collar, so I just kind of want to work on a lot of their energy managements and then start shaping that out with Bojangles in the picture. But going home, I think one of the biggest things to keeping these dogs successful, not even just between Cooper and Boone, but Bojangles as well, they all need to kind of have their own boundaries. You can see Boone's the much more kind of playful one, will tolerate a little bit more with Bojangles, kind of overly pushy play style, where Cooper, he's not going to put up with that crap. So again, they need to kind of, teach each other, but also have, me as their trainer, and then the owners implement a lot of these boundaries. Just because, again, just like us people do, we have things that, we're okay with, that we're not okay with, that we can tolerate. But, especially with these dogs in their past, with Bojangles or Boone pushing Cooper's buttons, eventually he's going to snap. So again, just setting those boundaries and having each dog understand, the respect level when they're working with their siblings, just so, again, no incidents progress from that, and then again we see these patternings start to delete themselves, and then these dogs will very quickly regress. Hi, Booney. Hi, buddy. Yeah, so we're a day out of Boone and Cooper's original transition day, but over the last week, Boone hasn't really been feeling himself. Started out noticing it as just some mild allergies, a lot of kind of sneezing when he was getting overly excited, a lot of excess drooling, kind of him losing his appetite. We noticed some, very green mucousy discharge coming from his nose. So, talked about the owners when they kind of dropped Bojangles off, was just going to keep my eye on him. Then, coming in Monday for their second working demo, they kind of saw him, went home, kind of wanted to self-treat it, got him on some amoxicillin. That's kind of helped, relieve some mild symptoms, helping with his allergies. But again, just, his personality, he's not being his true self, not, motivated as much. So, I felt bad, kind of, feeling the need to kind of overly push him. And, like I said, having it be one day out, I don't think necessarily going to hurt him, giving him kind of a rest day. So, contacted the owners, kind of went over everything. We both kind of decided it would be best for, Boone in the long run, send him home, let him be totally comfortable. Cooper is going to stay here. We'll finish up their transition tomorrow, see how Boone will be doing, if he's going to come back in. But again, Boone being comfortable is the number one priority for me. Like I said, I don't think he needs that one extra day of training. So not necessarily going to hurt anything that we have done over the last 4 weeks. But again, just making sure Boone is totally comfortable at home in his normal environment. If it needs to be taken to the vet or anything like that, putting it in the owner's hands, letting them take care of him and everything like that. But sending him home one day early today, so they should be here within the next few minutes picking him up. Ready to go home, big man? Free. Often. So yeah, he seems like allergy-wise kind of doing better. I mean, this is the most personality I've seen out of him, last couple days. So, nothing that I'm, overly kind of concerned about necessarily. Exactly. I just want him to kind of be more comfortable. So, definitely feel like, he'd be more comfortable with you guys at home. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so Chris just came by, picked up Boone. You know, we sent him home a day early just due to his health. Wasn't necessarily feeling too good. So, you know, hopefully being at home for the next 24 hours, they're going to go get some fluids in him, maybe to get him on a different medication. Hopefully, you know, we can kind of change up his personality, getting him comfortable. So if he comes back tomorrow, he's feeling a little bit better. But if not, you know, that's not going to hurt any training or anything like that, just one day. So, you know, we can really focus on Cooper, you know, but if he does come tomorrow, you know, he might be a little bit limited in, you know, his capacity, how much motivation he's going to have, how eager he is to work, and kind of his threshold and energy level and everything like that. So we might have to take a little bit easy on him, but again, that's totally okay. We still have Cooper here, going to spend one more day with us, finish up his training today, and then send him home tomorrow. Now, I was speaking with Chris when he just picked him up, you know, about 10 minutes ago. The idea of potentially doing an in-home with these two dogs, you know, I think definitely just kind of seeing their personalities, kind of how different and how more energetic they get when Chris and Shaina are in the picture doing their working demos and everything like that. So definitely, you know, an in-home session would give me the opportunity to really, you know, see these dogs in their true environment, see their true behaviors, but then, you know, in the more serious note, again, really help Chris and Shaina understand how to stop these behaviors, how to work through it, and then kind of continue pushing through with their training. Well, one boy now, Cooper. Are you ready? Good job, big man. How's Boone doing?
He made it through the night. We weren't sure he was going to.
Okay.
He kind of took a turn for the worse.
Did he?
Uh-huh.
Really?
But he, we've had him on nebulizers every 2 hours.
Nice. Good.
He's making it.
Poor guy, man.
Yeah, he got. So I still haven't gotten him to eat.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I was able to kind of get him like to eat from my hand, and that kind of seemed like it helped a little bit. But yeah, he seemed like he was doing better. You know, Tuesday, obviously, I wasn't here that day, but, you know, talking with my staff, making sure all his meds, they said he was doing good. And then Wednesday, you know, I could tell, you know, he still had that sickness. You know, but really the biggest thing was just, you know, him not being motivated to eat. But I mean, he did good with his training sessions. I'm pretty sure Wednesday was the day I brought the two of them in here and kind of just had them doing like a free mode training session. They were kind of running around playing. You know, my focus was kind of the reactivity out that window, so I was working on their outs, but I mean, he was in here kind of running around, roughhousing with him, and then kind of wanted to chill on the bed, but was, you know, being responsive, still motivated enough to kind of take the treats, but didn't care about his food. But then when I just came in like Thursday, he just seemed like he just kind of, you know, was going from getting better, and then he just seemed like he was worse than, you know, from the day we kind of started treating him. But man, that makes me sad, poor buddy. All right, Cooper, we gotta focus on you today, buddy. Yes. Okay. But you know, I know we've spent several sessions really focusing kind of more so on just handling them like with their training, and you know, I know you guys know how to kind of work their obedience and stuff. So I don't care to really focus on that too much today.
Okay.
You know, today I want to more so focus on, you know, how to now keep these dogs successful. You know, like I've been kind of saying, you know, it's not like I've taught them, you know, one special command that's going to fix all of these issues and everything like that. I think what it was, or what it came down to was, you know, one, obviously, you know, they needed some fine tuning with their obedience, working around all the distractions, getting that reactivity out. But, you know, now with them, it's just kind of having them change up their mindset, and, you know, really teaching the two of you guys just how to kind of micromanage them at home, how to set the boundaries, you know, understand what's okay, what's too much, and everything like that. All right, buddy, you want to do some e-collar stuff with your mama? Yeah.
Sit.
Good boy. That's very lazy, Cooper.
Good boy. Down. Sit.
There you go. You know, even though you are kind of using the pressure on the e-collar, like what you're kind of doing right now, if he's going to try to be kind of out stubborn at working with you, you can give him a little extra pressure on his prong collar.
Okay. I've never felt it at that low level. I always thought it was like shocking them.
No.
Yeah.
Good. There we go.
Sit.
So what is that at? Is that a 5 now?
5.
Okay, okay.
Sit.
Yeah, I would maybe...
No. See, I released it a touch too soon there, huh?
Good. But you can
Down?
kind of see how he's shaking his head a
Yeah.
little bit. We don't want
Down.
that, but I would keep it at the
Could be.
5 right now to kind of help combat this stubborn.
Okay.
Because again, if I turn it down, then he's already going to blow right through it if he's blown at that 5. But that's the kind of reaction that I was talking about.
You sit.
Good boy.
Good boy. Down.
Nice, there you go.
Down.
Keep that pressure. Good.
Good boy.
Good, nice.
Good boy.
So I definitely want to address, again, Shaina's confidence when she is working with, Boone and Cooper, more so with Boone, again, him being a little bit more out of control out on those walks. I can see when she is handling them, she's definitely just unsure exactly what she needs to do. Her timing is off. She doesn't know when she could correct, if it's, before he's reacting, after he's reacting. So, I think a very important thing for her is just simply me teaching her how to be a better handler for these dogs, having her understand, taking over as that alpha dog, as the pack leader, but just teaching her these very simple, techniques to, stop a lot of these behaviors that these two big dogs are showing out on these walks. But again, a lot of it just comes from confidence. Again, her, staying consistent, practicing a lot of her training and everything like that. But again, me teaching her how to relay what I'm doing with these dogs. So again, when we transfer her home, she's totally confident, again, doing all the training sessions. When she does start walking the dogs, being confident, understanding how to correct. But again, if she's going to be uncomfortable, unsure of herself and not have that confidence, the dogs are just going to take total advantage of her, and then that's when we're going to see the dogs regress.
Now, it's important to note what Chase just commented on here, and that is timing. Timing is essential to proper communication with your dog. If you don't have the right timing, they don't know what you're rewarding or what you might be correcting. And having that timing is part of the process to teaching them what you do want, as well as teaching them what you don't want. So when Chase comments on, hey, making sure when you start to see that negative trigger or when you start to see those stress signals, that's when you want to maybe correct, redirect their behavior into something more positive, reward that positive change, and now you're repatterning with the right timing the behaviors you're wanting to see. Now, if your timing is off, the dog's maybe already at a level 8 out of 10 in their energy and their arousal levels, you have no control, it's very difficult to regain that situation. So being early a little bit is probably better than being too late. But ideally, the right timing is going to give the right communication to your dog. They're going to be a lot more engaged and attentive, and that's going to make for a happier training session.
Hello, good morning. So after their camp, Chris and Shaina invited me over to do an in-home follow-up lesson with them, just definitely focusing on going over there and working a lot on their controls. When me and Max first walked in, I already instantly saw a lot of their struggles, a lot of reactivity from all 3 dogs, rushing off the couch, off their place beds, just kind of charging over that front door. And it was very difficult for both Chris and Shaina to kind of handle that, manage that in that scenario. So going over there my first time, that was definitely my main focus with them, was just teaching them how to, in that environment, regain that control and not necessarily have the dogs be fed into that. We had a lot of other issues that we needed to work on as well, still having a lot of reactivity from Boone, but the training needed to start inside before we were able to transfer that over to outside. If they're already, the instance they think they're getting trained or they're going for a walk or losing that control, all of that loss is just going to transfer over outside. So we spent a good amount of time really just focusing on the training inside at first, a lot of control, structured, keeping them calm when they're coming out of their crate, when they're coming off of place, when they're getting their equipment on, when they're walking to that door, through the front door, in their little courtyard outside. That's where we need to gain control first, because if we don't have it there, we're not going to have it outside on those walks. And that's what's really going to start to intensify a lot of mostly Boone's reactivity, but obviously Cooper as well. So I focused a lot on just teaching them how to really just handle the dogs in their household, showed them a lot of tools and tips just to how to kind of correct that behavior. But what it came down to is just, through the first couple of years, few years of these dogs' life, they just, established a very negative patterning into them, whether that it was, again, anytime somebody came over, rushing that front door, The doorbell was a big thing as well. They were very just patterned into the second they heard that doorbell ring. Even if they were doing training, Chris and Shaina were working them on place. They had no control, would immediately rush off of that place bed right over to that front door, and that was a big problem area for them. A lot of energy, you know, especially with Cooper, the bigger Great Dane, transferring a lot of that energy, redirecting over onto the other two dogs. So at first, you know, with my first in-home visit with them, I did a few over the course of about 6 weeks. But, you know, that first session, I really just wanted to focus on gaining control outside. And then once we had that, we were able to, you know, finally transfer them over outside. Got a lot of reactivity out of Boone, which is not nice to see, but, you know, it was nice to be able to show them how to work through that, to really go over the e-collar, how to regain that control, how to correct him and continue moving forward, really just focusing on getting him out of that mindset. And as we focused on Boone's reactivity during that session, Shaina had brought out the neighbor from across the street and utilized him and his dog for this exercise to test Boone's threshold of leash reactivity and lunging. After about 15 to 20 minutes, I was able to get Boone to sit within 15 feet of the neighbor's dog, which showed both Shaina and Chris how enough practice could improve both Boone and Cooper's mindset and create a more positive session. And then over the course of my next 2 in-home sessions that I did with them, it was kind of the same thing, but slowly, you know, we saw them starting to gain a lot of that control, especially inside. You know, when I would go over there, ring the doorbell, knock on the door, you know, it was settling down much quicker. We were able to stop any reactivity out on those walks a lot quicker. So I think the biggest thing for them wasn't necessarily just focusing on the actual training, but more so the dog's mindset. And once we were able to kind of settle them down, I think finally, after such a long time, that's really when it's starting to click for both the dogs, but also Chris and Shaina.
I think some of our biggest challenges moving forward, definitely the dog reactivity for Boone. I think that that's going to take a lot of time and patience and consistency on our part. So we know that we also have a lot of training to do. Cooper, I think just consistency, staying on top of him when he starts reacting or redirecting towards the other dogs at home, trying to boss them around. I think just staying on top of him and correcting him before he gets to the bossy situations, I think is going to be our biggest issue with him.
No, honestly, it's been good. Overall, I mean, we had one of our dogs, you know, got a little bit sick. That was, you know, really the only issue. But I mean, obviously, I mean, you take your kid to daycare to get sick. So, but overall, we've had a really good experience. I think this session, you know, really helps out, you know, seeing how our dogs can be at the facility, you know, over a month period and, you know, really do well, but then show some different signs and just reactivities being at home. I think that was just really good for us to have that exposure, and obviously for our trainers to have that exposure of what we were looking for as far as getting help.
Now, I'm really happy to see all of the progress that we've made with Boone and Cooper during their time here. Of course, we had a few hitches along the way, some hurdles to overcome. Now, of course, at the end there, Boone got a bit sick, and that is never a good thing, but we managed to recover well. Chase did a superb job working with their parents at their home environment, covering any of those things that maybe fell by the wayside in the week or two since they've been at the school, and of course being able to address some of those very specific behaviors that occurred under certain scenarios with other dogs in the neighborhood, with other people in the neighborhood, and of course in the home environment was incredibly valuable for Boone and Cooper, and even more valuable for their parents to learn what it takes to implement the strategies we've been working on over the past few weeks, so that they have that confidence to take it and move forward in a positive, productive way. I'm very excited what their parents continue to do with Boone and Cooper, and we're already thrilled with the results we've gotten so far. It's only up from here.
So I had a lot of fun working with both Cooper and Boone, and obviously Chris and Shaina as well. You know, when you're working these big reactive dogs, you know, it can be very challenging, but you know, me as a dog trainer, it's these type of challenges that I'm very passionate about. And, you know, I know on Chris and Shaina's end, you know, having these two big, very reactive, just stubborn, strong dogs, you know, no control, that can be very, very stressful. You know, I think like finally now after all of this work, you know, I'm kind of starting to see the two of them really gain that confidence. They're starting to see and understand, you know, all the training and why we do everything, how we do everything. They're starting to figure out, you know, really how to control their dog. So that's been awesome to see. But it's been a lot of fun working with them. You know, I look forward to working with my next camp dog that should be coming in next week, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thank you.